What's up, Lindas? Today I'm going to be recapping the grand finale of Drag Race Brazil Season 2. Once I get to the end, I'm going to share my thoughts on the season overall. I have my positives and my negatives. There's a lot to say, so without further ado, let's get into it. The four finalists walk back into the workroom after Belky's elimination, and they are all hungry for the crown. So it's a new week in the workroom, and the finalists use the stairs as their entrance instead of the regular entrance, which I thought was really cute. Melina says it doesn't matter how many badges you have, it's about being the most well-rounded queen. Poseidon says she's made the biggest comeback. Balaji says her journey in the competition has been a real roller coaster. And of course, Ruby has the most badges with 3. She says it was all planned out. She won the first challenge, lay low in the middle, and then had a big comeback toward the end. And I mean, she's right. At that moment, Greg enters the workroom for the final time this season. For their last maxi challenge, they will be performing to Queen Forever. This includes choreographing their own routine, writing their own verses, and using their own vocals in the process. She also reveals the twist that we saw in last week's preview. Only 2 will get to lip sync for the crown. The other 2 will be eliminated beforehand. Drag Queen has a sit-down chit-chat with each of the 4 contestants. And out of the 4, Malashi's words really resonated with me. She says she wants to live longer than the trans life expectancy rate, and she also says that the person that would be the proudest of her is Bianca, which is her chosen name. She spoke so beautifully. On Elimination Day, the queens discuss their hopes for after the show. Poseidon says that she just hopes the fans are kind. It's a real shame that the fan continues to spew hate online. They need to understand that not only is this extremely unnecessary and hateful, it's actually putting queens off from going on Drag Race to begin with. At that moment, the queens get inspirational messages from the eliminated contestants on the screen. And I was like, okay, so they're not going to be at the actual finale then. So for the last time this season, on the main stage, we have the gorgeous Drag Queen. And this really is a finale look. It's absolutely stunning. The wig is not completely black, but it's bordering on black, and I appreciate that. We have Dudu Bertolini and Bruna Braga. Greg then delivers a performance of her own song, Sideral. I mean, there's a reason that she won Queen of the Universe. Her voice is angelic and her star quality is next level. It's a real bop. So it's time for the performance of Queen Forever, which I do not have an image of. And to be honest, I didn't love it. It was very low energy for me, and by that I mean the performances. The song itself was fine. I think Melina and Malaji did the best, but I was sort of distracted by Ruby's undergarments under the corset. And whilst I like Poseidon's humour, I don't really think it matches the messages of the song. This is not my favourite finale performance. However, these final runways were next level. Categories: Grand Finale Eleganza, Extravaganza, and I gave my top 2 to Malachi Queen. This was Eleganza. This was so quintessential Brazilian. It was so beautiful. This one stood out to me above the rest. And speaking of top toots, Adora Black ended up receiving 5 from me, making her my most top tooted queen of the season. And my favourite look of hers is the one that she made in the design challenge out of paper. Now, if your best look is your design look, you're going places. And I dare say it will be the same case for Venus Deluxe when I talk about Slajon Royale. So it's time for the judges' critiques. First up, we have Malachi Queen. They tell her she has amazing stage presence and her look is absolutely gorgeous. She is a powerful black trans woman and she should never forget it. Next is Poseidon Drag, and they really love her sense of humour and her fashionable runways. You know, when she hits, she really hits. They say she has a mix of spontaneity and strategy, and they also live for her lip syncs. Next is Melina Blay, and despite not winning a single badge, they say she had many iconic moments throughout the show. She's had a beautiful journey with so much passion and love put into everything she does. And last but not least, we have Ruby Knox. And I absolutely love the crystals on her head. This would have been my top 2, but I wasn't as obsessed with the black covering over it. They tell her she's been incredible to watch. She has so much polish and glamour, but she's a goofball at heart. They then address their younger selves, which always makes me cry. And in Untucked, they try to guess who will move on to the final lip sync. Malachi says they all have such interesting track records, it's hard to tell. Back on the main stage, the top 2 are Ruby Knox and Malachi Queen. In my personal opinion, this result is not surprising at all. We say goodbye to Poseidon Drag and Melina Blay right before the final lip sync. And I'm really happy that 2 out of my top 3 made the finals, Malachi and Poseidon. my third being Adora Black. So the queens performed to O Amor e o Poder by Rosanna. I am so sorry I butchered that completely. It's a beautiful ballad with sort of an Amazonian rainforest backing track. It's supposed to be The Power of Love by Celine Dion, right? You know, the Brazilian version. Both gave a great performance. I really loved Melodi's reveals. However, I have to ask, where was Organza and her final step down look? Does anybody know why Organza wasn't there? Because she was at the finale party. And I was just a little bit sad because All Stars France also didn't have a queen step down look, which I understand it was the first of its name, so they might be saving Le Philippe for season 4. But it was just kind of underwhelming to see a pit crew member bring out the crown and scepter. Also, we didn't get a Miss Congeniality. Although I have heard that Bulky was made the unofficial Miss Congeniality of the season, which feels correct. And so we have our winner, Ruby Knox, exactly who I wanted to win and exactly who I predicted to win. Congratulations, darling, extremely well deserved. I think she is great representation for the franchise and her hometown. And as you can see by the image, I did say last week that she would make the horniest winner in Drag Race history, and I wasn't wrong. I also want to say a huge congratulations to Melody Queen for coming runner-up. So, what are my thoughts on the overall season? I think it started well. I was really enjoying the pacing and the cast right up until Desiree Beck was eliminated. It then took a bit of a shift with 2 back-to-back lackluster episodes, those being the Lip Sync Lollapalooza and the Roast. The 2 double Shantays in one season made no sense to me. Like, yes, the first one was deserved, but the second one wasn't. I was also really surprised when Adora was eliminated, as I saw her making it all the way. And by the end, when one queen has 3 badges and the rest have 1 or 0, there's no real competition or suspense on who's going to win. And whilst Ruby's win was very deserving and I'm so happy for her, it wasn't any sort of a shock or surprise. It was very predictable, which ends up making a Drag Race season a little less exciting for me. It was also very apparent throughout the season that Ruby would take the crown. She had multiple edits about wanting to win to represent for her hometown and how important it would be for her to take the crown home. So I kind of saw it coming a mile away. And so, my friends, when it comes time to do my overall ranking, unfortunately, I will be putting it closer to the bottom. Which sucks because I predicted it to be my favourite season of 2025. Having said all that, I do want to end on some positives. I preferred season 2 to season 1. I was more connected to this cast, especially the final 4. I love the first half of the season. I think the challenges and the lip syncs were fun. The guest judges were so good this season. We got Fontana, Melissa Bianchini, Kiona, Callie Hilton, Victoria Shakespeare's, etc. And I also felt the chemistry more between Greg, Dudu, and Bruna Braga. So it's definitely not all bad. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. What did you think of the finale, the winner, and the season overall? Give me all the tea, and I'll be back very soon with another video.